Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopijana Balaba Girivaradare Jayo Gopijana Balaba Girivaradare Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivacharya Asotaratata Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivacharya Asotaratata Śrīmad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai. Shri Gantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, Shri Guru Gauranga Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today morning we're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto number 7, Chapter 5, entitled Prahlada, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Text 36. Vishnu vasadav asau kimnu. Vishnu vasadav asau kimnu. Karishyati asamanjasa. Harishyati asamanjasa. Saudam dustyajam pritro. Saudam dustyajam pritro. Ahadya pancha hayanaha. Ahadya panchahayanaha. Vishnur vasadavasau kimnu. Karishyati asamanjasa. Saurdam dushtya jampitro. Ahadya panchahayanaha. Ahadya panchayanaha. Vishnu vasadavasau kimnu. Harishyati asamanjasa. Saudam dustyaja pritro. Matajis. Kimno. Saurdam dustyajam pitro. Ahadya panchahayana. Okay, word to word meaning Vishnu, unto Vishnu, va, either, sadhu, good, asau, this, kim, whether, nu, indeed, karishyati, will do, asamanjasa, not trustworthy, sauradam, affectionate relationship, dustyajam, difficult to relinquish, pitruhu, of his father and mother, ahat, gave up, yaha, he who, pancha ayanaha, only 5 years old. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Although Prahlada is only 5 years old, even at this young age he has given up his affectionate relationship with his father and mother. Therefore he is certainly untrustworthy. Indeed, it is not at all believable that he will behave well toward Vishnu. There is no purport, so we'll continue reading the next text. Text 37. Paroyapi apatyam hida krit yatha aushadam swadehajapi amayavat sutta hitaha chintayatad angam yad udatmano hitam shesham shukam jivati yat vivarjanat. Translation. Although a medicinal herb being born in the forest does not belong to the same category as a man, if beneficial it is kept very carefully. Similarly, if someone outside one's family is favorable, he should be given protection like a son. On the other hand, if a limb of one's body is poisoned by disease, it must be amputated so that the rest of the body may live happily. Similarly, even one's own son, if unfavorable, must be rejected, although born of one's own body. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed all devotees of the Lord to be humbler than the grass and more tolerant than trees. Otherwise, there will always be disturbance to their execution of devotional service. Here is a vivid example of how a devotee is disturbed by a non-devotee, even though the non-devotee is an affectionate father. The material world is such that a non-devotee father becomes an enemy of a devotee son. Having determined to kill even his son, Hiranyakashipu gave the example of amputating a parts of one's body that has become septic and therefore injurious to the rest of the body. The same example, of course, may also be applied to non-devotees. Chanakya Pandit advises, Tyaja durjana samsargam bhaja sadhu samagamam. Devotees actually serious about advancing in spiritual life should give up the company of non-devotees and always keep company with devotees. To be too attached to material existence is ignorance, because material existence is temporary and miserable. Therefore, devotees who are determined to perform tapasya, penances and austerities to realize the self, and who are determined to become advanced in spiritual consciousness must give up the company of atheistic non-devotees. Prahlad Maharaj maintained an attitude of non-cooperation with the philosophy of his father Hiranyakashipu, yet he was tolerant and humble. Hiranyakashipu, however, being a non-devotee, was so polluted that he was even prepared to kill his own son. He justified this by putting forward the logic of amputation. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Sakshur Unmilitamena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Seeking blessing of all Vaishnavas. Speak from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Although Prahlad is only 5 years old, even at this young age, he has given up his affectionate relationship with his father and mother. Therefore, he is certainly untrustworthy. Indeed, it is not at all believable that he will behave well towards Vishnu. Any 5-year-old here? 5? No. It's difficult to conceive that from a materialistic point of view that a 5-year-old can give up his parents. Right? It's but Prahlad was not only in the mood of renunciation, but he is a preacher. Whatever, if you see this conversation between Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad, or the teachers of Prahlad, his reply is always a preaching statement. He is not presenting answers in a justification of what his activities or what he is trying to do, but he is always replying in the sense very compassionate to the person who is dealing. He was a bold, very determined preacher. We can see that. And it's also very inconceivable to understand how Prahlad became a great devotee. Is it because the mercy of the spiritual master Narada Muni? Or is it because the Supreme Lord who has bestowed his mercy? Or is it because of Prahlad's determination? Or we can say the combination of all. But at least we know that he is a pure devotee from his birth, or even before his birth. So here, Hiranyakashipu is giving some very vivid, very amazing analogies. That if a herb, it is useful, we keep it. If someone is helping, even though he is not in a family, but he is considered as a family person and should be given protection like a son. But at the same time, if someone within the family, or he is giving the example of a limb which is poison. Sometimes we see patients who has some sugar or some infection in their leg, then the doctor present that either you lose the limb or you save the life. So in order to save the life, then you need to ampute your limb because the sugar has eaten or whatever, so many different cases or diseases are there. So he's saying, even though he is my son, but he is the cause of killing my brother. So we have to kill him. And Hiranyakashipu was very much afraid of Prahlad. Even though Hiranyakashipu was terror personified himself, he has occupied the kingdom of heaven. All the demigods are under his control. Just by raising his eyebrow, everyone was trembling. And fear, he was causing fear and havoc in the whole universe. But just a 5-year-old boy was making him so much afraid that he wants to kill him. He couldn't able to take it. And that is his own son. So he wants to kill him. So here in the Prabhupada explained few points that one of the main reason that one become a devotee is by association. And interestingly, one of the reason a devotee go out of spirituality is also by association. By just a little bit association of a pure devotee, that one's bhakti is started. Some mercy, some unknown shukriti that one begins bhakti process because of association. But at the same time, when we associate with non-devotees who are not having the mindset of spirituality or material in nature, then it becomes difficult. Who is a Vaishnava? Mahaprabhu explains. Asat Sanga Tyag, one who is giving up the association of a non-devotee, is a Vaishnava. How do you identify a Vaishnava? That he is always enthusiastic in associating with devotees. Association means not a physical proximity that one comes together physically. Yes, if it's a chance in opportunities there to serve physically, yes, but mainly association means hearing, associating on the level of hearing, revealing one's heart, utsaha nischya dhairya tat karma pravartanat, sangatyago, and then satovritti. Then we see the 6 exchanges, right? One is offering prasad, one is taking prasad, right? One is offering gifts and taking gifts, and one is inquiring confidentially and revealing one heart. So Prabhupada explains that one inquire about the activities of Krishna consciousness, right? And then one is revealing one's heart to a senior devotee. So Prabhupada also explained that a senior devotee should give association, explains the terms of Krishna consciousness to a junior devotee. So that is very much important. That's how you develop love for Krishna, a love for devotees. Priti Lakshana. These are the 6 ways that one develop love for Krishna. That they are associating and revealing in confidence. That one is asking question, and in terms, as the Prabhupada says that one is giving knowledge, right? One is preaching, one is giving the holy name, one is giving the books and knowledge, and in return we are getting some donation. That is a transcendental gift because we are used in the service of Krishna. So that way we are actually making eligible for that person to start a spiritual account. So one has to avoid the non-devotees. So here Prahlad is in essence doing the same, that is rejecting his father. We see many cases in the scripture. One has rejected the father, one has rejected the mother. In Ramayana, Bharat Maharaj example is given, one who is giving up Kaikai. Then one who rejected the teacher, we will see in 8th canto, Bali Maharaj, who rejected his spiritual master. And there are many places where we see within the relation, that is one, but these are all teachers, one should not reject. We see that contradiction also, that the people who are dependent, we should save them. But if they are presenting something which is material, here Prabhupada says, material existence is temporary and miserable. So material existence is miserable and temporary, who is helping us to identify with matter, which is not going to last long. So one has to be rejected. So we see time and again this scenario comes in the life of a devotee, that a son become a devotee, the parents become upset. Again and again, history repeats. So even when Prabhupada presented Krishna consciousness, there are so many people who joined Krishna conscious movement. All the young Americans, Europeans and Western, everyone, India, everywhere in the world. And obviously because they don't have much exposure or knowledge, they don't have much understanding of what is Krishna consciousness. And they felt it is somewhat, the children may not know, or the young youth is misguided. So there were so many stories that we hear that the parents are upset, or in personal life also we would have come across at least 1 or 2 persons who are not happy with our decision becoming a devotee. You will not find a case where a person become devotee and the whole world is celebrating. That means something wrong. There was one time the devotees came and said, Prabhupada, see that they have put, Hare Krishna is bad, Hare Krishna is bad. So Prabhupada said, someone is saying Hare Krishna bad is actually good because he is saying Hare Krishna. So I was hearing the Brahmanand Prabhu and Garga Muni. So Brahmanand Prabhu became devotee and Garga Muni Prabhu also became devotee. Now one son becoming devotee itself a enough problem. There will be enough question and answer session will happen. 2 people become a devotee. So I think the mother of Brahmanand Prabhu came to visit Prabhupada. He's in New York. It's early days, very early days. So she came and Prabhupada, there was nothing. There was storefront and Prabhupada standing. There was one chair which they used to, it's a metal chair. They use that for VVIP people to come and sit. So they put that chair. The mother of Brahmanand Prabhu, Garga Muni came. She sat down. And then Prabhupada, exactly, feel like Prahlad Maharaj. So Prabhupada said, see, we don't have anything here. We are struggling, paying bills. Can you give some donation? And the mother was thinking, and then she said, I already donated 2 sons. Then Prabhupada said, yeah, okay, that's good. So yeah, that is very good, you have donated. So Brahman Prabhu was saying that the mother acknowledged the fact that she already donated. She gave the 2 sons to Prabhupada. So in my life also, I remember clearly, when I became devotee, they were so happy that I became a devotee. But then when I joined the temple, they were not happy. So you find this situation where if you're doing good, the people are happy. If you're only doing good, they are not happy. You should have something, you should be normal. And their way of normal is that you should have 1 foot in material life and 1 foot in spiritual life. As long as the spiritual life is helping your material life to go nicely, then the spiritual life is good. But only you're doing spiritual life, that is not good. Right? Because how will you live in the material world? All they know is material way, that you have to be success, you have to get money, you have to go have a good family, good status, have nice material asset. The thing is, if someone taking Krishna consciousness, right, then there is no loss. If you are taking Krishna consciousness, suppose someone say prime youth has to be used in sense gratification or getting material assets, getting your career, right? But if someone take Krishna consciousness, let us take the scenario. If someone is not pursuing his material goals and becoming a devotee and trying sincerely to advance in spiritual life, trying his best, then there is no loss or diminution in this process, Krishna is saying. Because the act of devotional service is eternal in nature. It is always going to be there. There is nothing lost, and in fact, it will be all good, because a person performing devotional service is only getting good qualities, is getting rid of his misery, anxiety, and so many problems actually. And one may think, oh, maybe I didn't get that, I could have become a CEO, or I could have earned a lot of money, or even if one is getting the material pursuing goals, house, is getting a house, bank account full of money or wealth, one should understand that everything will be taken away at one point. That is not going to be there with that person. It's just a matter of time, whether now or later. And imagine the amount of attachment one develops because of things which he likes to do. He develops so much attachment, and it will cause so much pain when that is taken away. So material means it is just a matter of time, it is going to go away. An intelligent person will not spend time and energy in the things which is not going to last long. Right? We are not going to invest, suppose if someone say this share will give you, but this is not going to be there. We will not invest in that, because that is not going to give us any return. So even if someone is performing his occupational duty or material duty so perfect, he has lost the purpose of life. He has completely lost the purpose of life. We should understand these are just allurement which will take us for a ride and distract us from the path of bhakti. The whole material world is a reformation place. It's not an enjoyable place, and everything is given as a distraction for one to continue in the path of bhakti. So one has to be careful that take up. So similarly, when we come with a particular goal we have not, one may not born like a Prahlad Maharaj or a great devotee or born in a devotee family, that they get early exposure to this kind of teachings and knowledge and philosophy. So we were just continuing our material pursuit. By the divine arrangement or some auspicious blessing or fortunate that one come across Krishna consciousness or spirituality, and when that person embraces that spirituality, it will create some kind of disturbance in dear and loved ones. That is there, that is going to be there. But when one is continuing that path, at the same time showing the person whom they are very dear, that how it is actually rewarding by example, will have a greater impact. We have seen in the community that the children become devotee, and with their example, with their patience and teaching, they could able to make their parents also devotees. So that also another point which Prabhupada emphasized. So it's not just because that you become a devotee that you don't that you are arrogant or puffed up. Still you have to be humble, tolerant and patient. Just because you are in a upper position, it doesn't mean that you are treating the person who are in ignorance as a laughing stock. Or so here the first thing Prabhupada emphasized that you have to be humble. Humble than a grass and more tolerant than trees. Because we do that mistake. I've done that mistake. Something you got so much precious and valuable, then when you see people worshipping demigods or materialistic activities, so you get angry on them. You want to, this is a kind of a superiority complex. So you want to treat the person very bad just because you have some kind of knowledge. Knowledge is for distribution. If that knowledge is not realized and not distributed, it is only going to add pride in your behavior. So this Krishna consciousness have a very perfect knowledge, right? We have a very lofty philosophy, but that has to be realized. How we can realize? When we implement in our life and we humbly serve. So when we do that, then our behavioral changes will happen. That will impress us. So I was reading one of the article that preaching by example. Very nice article by Burujan Prabhu. So that was even in this context. I was thinking also that we see that the children's in Krishna consciousness, when the story of Ajamil, or when we talk about Kamsa, they talk about, a person who is jokingly or in a funny way chanting Hare Krishna, or a person who incidentally or accidentally calling out the name of Krishna got the benefit. Or we talk about Kamsa, that even unfavorably thinking about Krishna, one get the benefit of liberation. What about talk about devotee who is chanting all the time? What about devotee who is favorably, doing devotional service? What position he will get? So this is best just to magnify the potency of the holy name, magnify the potency of favorable inclination towards devotional service, So similarly, if we see, then we should think, then one have a thinking that even Hiranyakashipu, the greatest demon, got a child like Prahlad. Then what about devotees who are, in the movement and getting a child? You should be like a born devotee, a great devotee. But then, unfortunately, not much happening like that, We see that, sometimes the devotees, even though Krishna says an unsuccessful yogi take birth in a very aristocratic family or a transcendental parents where he can continue, very favorable. So that's why we see there is a gap there. So even though we are giving that Krishna consciousness in the young age is a greater advantage, upper hand in the society as a child who is born in Krishna consciousness. But then after a certain age, they will see how it is practiced by the parents, how it is practiced by devotees or members of Krishna consciousness. So it is very important that our philosophy that we practice and we set an example to younger generation. Especially when they see that there is a discrepancy in what they were demanded and what they see in the behavior, then they get really, they will not obey. They will ask questions. So teaching by example can be in two ways. The result will be two ways. One is imitative and inference. So imitative means the children like to imitate. Whatever they see, whatever their behavior, whatever they saw, whatever they're teaching, they like to imitate. At the same time, they also have that inference. That means sometimes when we teach, when the parents do, they from that behavior they also make out what is their belief, what is their values. So this thing is very important, that what we giving to our children also we should practice. Suppose we are asking them to chant, we are asking them to hear, or we are asking them to do certain Krishna conscious activity. They also see how the parents are doing, how others are doing. Are they sitting and chanting, or are they doing something else and then giving priority to chanting later? So because they can't see the big picture, one may say, I am doing so many things, trying to manage the whole family, trying to manage the whole life, and then trying to perform Krishna consciousness. Yes, everything understandable, but when we are preaching also, we are coming down to the level of the audience, and then we are trying to relate and connect with them and give Krishna consciousness in their terms. So that is a picture, right? That someone is, even though he may be very knowledgeable, very advanced in his Krishna consciousness, even in the case of Uttamadhikari, we see that he comes down to Madhyama, the platform, discriminate the people and give Krishna consciousness according to that level. So similarly, when we are dealing with children, when we are dealing with different preaching audience, everything, we are coming down to the level. Even though one may be a very advanced, he is coming down and then talk about the basic philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Similarly, our presentation also has to be in that level. Otherwise, it's very difficult. We will lose them. It's just a matter of time. We will lose them. So here, again, Prabhupada stress on this point, that association. Even though here a vivid example of how a devotee is disturbed by a non-devotee, even though the non-devotee is an affectionate father. The material world is such that a non-devotee father become an enemy of a devotee son. See that? Having determined to kill even his son, Hiranyakashipu gave the example of amputating a part of one's body that became septic and therefore injurious to the rest of the body. So we see that A non-devotee, it can be, in this case, a father. In our case, can be anyone. Could be our dear friend, our well-wisher, material well-wisher we see. So that's why when we associate with materialistic person, they try to impress with their desire upon us. When a devotee also associating with someone else, if preaching, what we are trying to do? We are trying to impress our desire upon them. We want certain way outcome. Right? Similarly, a materialistic person is always talking, always thinking, always breathing his desire, what you want to achieve, hanker or passion. When we are in that environment, then we will also rub off some of the qualities. When we associate, by our ambition, our aspiration in life comes from association. What we want to be, it comes from association. In fact, our quality also comes from association, because when we serve someone, we develop the quality of that person. When we associate with someone, we rub off some of the quality of that person. Even you can notice that when you associate with some person, we also develop the same expression from that person. Right? We laugh also same way. We imitate our expression, facial, right? Yeah. Isn't it? So even very subtle, this is when we notice that our style of walking, everything, it comes naturally that we adapt to that person, because we like that person, we want to, so naturally we start imitating the person. Similarly, so when we are associating with non-devotees, then desire to acquire material things, desire to enjoy material things creeps in our heart. It's very subtle, but it happens. So one should know that how one should avoid. At the same time, we are associating to give association, not take association. So that is very important. When we are associating with someone, we should be careful in what way we are presenting ourselves. So it's like in Bhagavad Gita we can see that Krishna was a friend to Arjuna, but then he immediately took the position of a spiritual master when Arjuna surrendered. Till that time there was a casual, Prabhupada writes, the relationship was very friendly. But then when the shift happened, when Arjuna surrendered, immediately Krishna became a teacher and starts chastising. Right? So similarly, we have to see how we are playing in our role. When we are, we are friend to every living entity. That is one of the quality of a devotee, that he is friendly, he is not envious of any living entity. But at the same time, our friendly relation actually changes to guru, to a mentor, to a preacher, depending upon that individual, how he is reciprocating or how he is looking up to us. Yeah? So that we have to see how we can help others. So the association is very important, and make sure that we avoid non-devotee association. Non-devotee association, not now, in terms of, if you see nowadays, a non-devotee association may not be in person also. We have mobile phone, we have many other things, media, we have internet, we have newspaper, whatever, so many things are there. So it's not necessarily has to be a person who is personification of material desire. That is very rare, that you'll come across someone who is very close to you all the time talking about it. Why when we are exposure to so many material, maybe mundane literature or internet or people, our mind act against us. We are just making our mind a greatest enemy by associating, because mind like to capture things and keep it in storage. So our mind is material, and similarly when we are feeding the mind with this kind of contents, then what happens? at our free time, it will not allow us to think or chant properly. It will bring back the same impressions and contents, what we read, what we heard, what we seen so many days and minutes and hours or whatever. So that is a non-devotee association basically. Then what? We are struggling to manage our control, our mind. Then there is no question of spirituality. So Prabhupada explained there is no question of spiritual life if there is no control of mind and senses. And very much we can see practically in our life that we are struggling to have qualitative chanting or attentive hearing or reading Prabhupada books. It becomes a struggle at times because why? We are just feeding the mind with non-devotee association. And then we are trying to be cultivate. So it becomes a lot of time spent in trying to get the mind proper. So that's why we have to be very careful in what we associate and what we expose ourselves to things. So I'll just stop here and see if anyone has any correction, comments, question on what we discussed. Okay. You have a question? No. Okay. Yeah, you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So the best way to avoid the non-devotee association is not to associate with them at all. But what if you can't really avoid it? Like if some people, you have to go to a job, you're associating with people there, or things like that.
The Prabhupada said, how do you identify my disciples and devotees? They are perfect gentlemen and perfect gentlewomen, right? Yes, work we are going to work, right? So we just do the needful and get out. Yeah. Right? So we have to see what is required minimum to do the job, we do that. Our main business and family business is Krishna consciousness. Right? So see, that's what we have to do self-preservation. Yeah? And what is required for self-preservation, we gratify the senses and money or working, everything can be done. But our main thing is not, our main thing is so that we can get Krishna Prem, to develop Krishna consciousness, this is the main. Right? And also, if the devotee is going to work to give Krishna consciousness, to associate, where is our mind? We have to see what we are aspiring, what we are thinking. We make ourselves complicated actually. Right? We know the process, we know what we have to do, that's it. So we try to be simplified. Rather become simplified, we make more complicated. In our job also. Right? We can be in our level and then quickly finish, then come, do our rest of the focus, use our intelligence, our energy, everything in the spreading of Krishna consciousness, focusing. Right? Otherwise, it has to be used in something else. Right? You have to be active. You have to do activities. So there's only two ways. If you are not serving Krishna, then you have to serve Maya. Simple as that. There is no confusion. So if you are not utilizing your strength, energy in Krishna consciousness, then it has to be used in service of external energy. Simple as that. There is no confusion. So work is to maintain our Krishna consciousness, not the other way. Not we are doing Krishna conscious to maintain the work. So we have to be very, and of course take the guidance of the spiritual master and the senior devotees. Just do the bare minimum and then come to the shelter of Krishna. That's the best. Yeah.
Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned that sometimes children who are born in the families of devotees, they can also go far away by seeing others' examples. And by that the parents worry so much and their bhakti also sometimes suffers. But we see in the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj, it says that if we are devotees, then our 7 generations are delivered. So why they worry? Logically, if their children are devotees, then they are automatically delivered. So how do we understand this?
Okay, good. So, children has to be devotee throughout the life, not only when they are children. Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee throughout the life. So, one has to be devotee. That's good. At least one has to be devotee in the family. Then only the whole family has to be liberated. So we should not be in that calculation. Mother, you become devotee, I will not. There should not be a fight in the family. Who will become the devotee? Rest will not. Actually, it happened. One brahmachari, he became a devotee, and the rest of the family was not happy. So he took his mentor to the family to preach. So he took the mentor and then he gave a talk, and then in the talk he said, if one become a devotee, 7 generation, 21 generation up and 21 generation something will be liberated. So everyone was impressed. Then after the class, everyone came to the devotee who became, devotee full time. He said, make sure you remain devotee. So that, we are saved. So that's the thing, one has to one has to remain devotee. If the parents are not becoming devotee, then the children has to become more serious. If parents and children, everyone devotee, it's good. Everyone has to remain devotee. That is the whole purpose, that Krishna conscious family stay together. And it takes a lot of things that one family remaining as a devotee. That means they have to spend time together in doing Krishna conscious activity, and they put priority their family first. So many things, they have to sacrifice many other things. It's a plan. It's a lot of work is there. So good, you're already devotee. Your parents are devotee. So you motivate each other. You see how you can help their parents in their Krishna consciousness, because they are also helping you to become Krishna conscious. So you have to make sure that you don't make their life more hard. So make sure that you can also help them in Krishna conscious. I heard so many children help their parents dressing the deities, right? In cutting some fruits or vegetable, whatever, taking flowers, making a garland, right? Cleaning the altar. So many things we can do. So children help their parents, parents help their children, and that's a perfect example. When the people see outside that their children are nicely behaving, nicely Krishna conscious, very attractive, right? Like we go in the Harinam. Right? Most of the devotees, most of the people stop by and see when the kids, everyone are dancing nicely and attractive, right? And all the other kids also want to join. They see that, that the range that from the child, from the family, the whole family is there presenting, Sankirtan. It makes a big impact. Right? Because if you see, even Prabhupada was so proud that the family of his Grihastha devotees established Krishna consciousness in London. Even the sannyasi couldn't do. Right? So he was so happy. So in this world, if a person, yes, of course, if a renunciant is preaching about Krishna consciousness, they always feel that this is not relatable in terms of it's not practical in this world. I am, you are different. But at the same time, if a family is nicely performing Krishna consciousness and presenting, even the Bhakti Vriksha, if you see, the most of the Bhakti Vriksha run by, and it's a program for Namahata for the family. When they go out and they see the wife, husband and the children all are in Krishna consciousness, and that's a powerful message, because they see that this person is also like me. If he can do, then I can do, right? So Prahlad, you see that Prahlad, what he did? He converted the whole class into devotees. It's a shocking thing for them. Because they couldn't able to do, because it's relatable, right? That Sandan Amarka was teaching, they couldn't able to stop Prahlad, but then when Prahlad, during their break time, he preached, he converted the whole thing, because the kids see, oh, Prahlad is like me. Right? So similarly, if you see 99% of this world is only people who are married, who are having children. They are going through the same, rough patch or the thick and thin of life. Right? And then when is on top of that, they are adding this Krishna consciousness. It makes them, really amazing. They see, oh, this is amazing, So Krishna consciousness is not something alien, or is not something only a person in Himalayas or some sadhus in Vrindavan can follow. No. Prabhupada said, you are in the city. He set an a great example. We are living in the world that when a Krishna conscious family flourish, that's a powerful way of preaching. Prabhupada said, one if is performing everything, household everything, one need not take sannyas. Because everything is perfect in household life. So that we have to see how we can able to influence a greater audience. So you help your parents, and the parents will help you, each other. Like that, continue. Right? Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
You going to Middle Park School? Your classmates all are devotees? So a lot of work to do. Okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much everyone. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.